No, Bob, you're a UN guy. You believe in the UN. They come out with this every year. They have the guys in the blue hats running around. Iran is in the Human Rights Commission.
Right.
Are you believing what they're putting out there?
I believe in the UN, but let me just say this, Jesse. Normally we have Greg here, who's the Flat Earth representative.
Yes.
And you are ably sitting in his chair, I might add. So for you and the rest of the Flat Earthers, this is 772 leading scientists who did this. Now, I want to see where your 772, and Eric says they're all lying. You think 772 scientists got together and said, okay, we're going to pull a big lie here. We're all going to say this is global warming. There is global warming.
I think it's called summer. I think there's a lot of money based on them propagating that lie.
Bob, but if you look at the same report from a decade ago, they were saying that the world was going to end in a couple of years, so we should all be dead. I mean, the point is, the network anchors just parrot what the report says, and if you read the report, it reads like a bedtime nightmare. I mean, so these scientists don't have a lot of credibility with me. Again, they said this was going to happen years ago. I think it's bigger than money. I think this goes back to the progressive argument that government can control the weather. And if they can control the weather, they can control our lives. They can control everything down to our appliances in our home. And last week, what was the big thing they wanted to control? Oh, yes, cow flatulence. Right. And they're assuming that they can also control cow farts in Russia and India and all of these other countries. Imagine saying that to Vladimir Putin. If we could just get our hands on your livestock, we could end this problem.
Now, there's new calls to arrest some of these climate change deniers, as they're called. I think some websites putting that out. Do you think that this has reached some sort of ridiculous level where they just want to arrest anybody that disagrees with you? Why would they do that, Dana?
I do think that the hyperbole and the breathlessness of reporting does become a little bit too much for people to understand. Now, let's just say that I take this report as read, that I say, okay, 772 scientists, I'm for it. What it doesn't include is a realistic solution, that a policy prescription that could actually do anything about it. The world is the world. You cannot hive off and just say the United States should do something if no one else is going to do it as well, because then you won't have done anything. In fact, in the United States, our emissions have gone down, and the only answer to all of these problems is economic growth.
Right.
And the way you get economic growth is through energy production. But what we have shown here in the United States is that with economic growth, you get innovation. Innovation leads you to cleaner burning fuels so that you can actually deal with things like global warming. What they are suggesting right now is basically like if I had a cold last week. Let's say that I went to the doctor and they said, you have a common cold, I guess we're going to have to take your leg.
Right.
That's the situation that they present you with policy-wise.
I think I agree with Dana on what she just said. I think it makes a lot of sense. But Jesse, the 772 scientists, name me 5 on the other side. Just name me 5. That's all.
Can you name 17,000? Can you name one of the 17,000?
Professor Stuart Markey.
Okay, Professor Spencer from Alabama. He doesn't buy any of this junk. You know what he thinks it is? Professor Roy Spencer. And you know what he says? It's a big transfer of wealth scheme. So you have these rich countries. Yes, you have these rich countries that just send all the money to these developing nations so they can fight climate change, and it's all about dollars. But I have to go. It's getting
that's the best thing I've heard in this segment right there.
Bob, what's the fastest land animal?
Hollywood heavy hitter Johnny Depp disses America during a trip to communist China. Professor Beckel can't wait to school Captain Jack Sparrow on a little China 101. After the break, don't listen.